Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday, and of course, today is International Women's Day. We want to welcome our guest co-host today, Ms. John Norwood. Each and every Wednesday, we bring forth entrepreneurs, artists, or CEOs that are winning in their industry. And this has been a long time coming. So, welcome, John. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the listening audience.
Okay, first, thank you, Drika, for having me on your show and your podcast. I do appreciate it. Yes, it has been a long time. I am John Rika Norwood, the insurance boss on Instagram, and John Rika Norwood, the insurance boss off of Instagram. Like I do all things life insurance, so that's what I do.
So we coming in hot first of all, because life insurance is a hot topic. It is one of those recession-proof industries. It
Mhm.
is a wealth building tool, but I don't think that most people understand life insurance, and so there's the disconnect, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel like some
Mhm.
people just need to understand more of what it is, what it's used for, how it can be used, not just in your death benefit, but in your living benefit. Can you give us some tips, tricks, or tools that we can use that as it regards to life insurance?
Yes. So basically, like she said, life insurance, it used to be just for the death benefit, just for when somebody passed away, that their family member was not stuck with that they would receive a check to pay for their final expenses or whatever additional they had would go to their beneficiary. But there are so many types of life insurance policies now that is good for while you're living. There's policies with living benefits. If something was to happen and you're terminally ill, that policy will pay up to 90% of your debt claim to your family member because you are terminally ill. Then there's other products, IULs, universal life products. There's permanent life insurance, there's term insurance, and there's lifetime whole life insurance policies. It's a variety of life insurance policies, but they're all based on what you're looking for, what can you afford, and what you're getting life insurance for. A lot of people now are looking for life insurance for a few things. Final expenses has always been a number one thing. If something
Mhm.
was to happen, our grandparents, parents are looking for something to cover them, to not leave their children in a bind or their family in a bind. But then there's products now where you can get that are for the living. So there you can fund your IUL products, meaning that you can overpay into them, where you can borrow from them down the line that you don't
So
have
basically, like pulling equity from your life
pulling
insurance.
equity from them, and it's tax free. So that's the biggest thing right now. You know, a lot of products that you do have your IRAs, different Roth accounts, when you draw from those accounts, they are taxable. But with life insurance, that is a tax-free income that you can draw from in the long run. But you have to overfund those products. And it has to be structured correctly for you to be able to get those benefits from those products.
Okay, so what would be like a general age that someone wants to look into life insurance? I know most people don't think about it
Birth.
as kids. We don't
Yes.
think about it because it's our parents' responsibility. But from the pivot from being a teenager to, oh, I'm growing in on my own, what would be the age for you to get a policy on your own self?
So basically, if your mom doesn't have a policy on you from birth, because nowadays you can get policies from clients from children from birth, and those policies you can, if they're whole life policies, which builds cash value throughout the lifetime. So by the time those kids are, we all saw the Gerber. When you have a baby, the first thing that comes to your house is that Gerber
Yes.
floor plan. And by the time those kids are 18 years old, they can transfer that into their own policy, or they can take from that policy because it's built so much cash value.
Mm-hmm.
So if your parent didn't have a policy for you, I'll say whenever you're responsible.
Oh, look like we lost her for a second. Somebody might be calling your phone. Unmute real quick. You went on mute when your phone rang, I think. We can't hear you. No sound. Hold on one second. There we go. Say something. Yep, you back.
Okay,
You back.
I don't know what happened just now, but yeah. So I say the sooner the better. A 18-year-old policy, if you decide you want to get an insurance policy, that can cost you $18 a month. So the earlier the better. You're younger, you're healthier, and with the way of the world now, the younger people need it the most anyway.
Right, exactly. Especially you born and raised from New Orleans. I'm
Hmm.
born and raised from New Orleans, right? And we see so much going on, like
Yes.
accidents, kids playing with
Yes.
guns, things like
Yes.
that. How would, and this is one of the questions I got yesterday in my stories. I did a poll and I asked, do y'all have any questions about life insurance that you want answered live? Like, how does life insurance work if suicide is involved?
Well, basically, there is a suicide clause. So if a person commits suicide, it depends on that insurance carrier. They do have the right to not pay that policy claim out, because everybody doesn't read through the fine lines of
Right, we
policies,
don't.
or through a lot of things. But that's one of the clauses in a lot of insurance policies. Suicide can deter you from being your policy premium being paid out, or your policy face amount to your beneficiary. They can deny that claim.
Okay, so that was just one of the questions that I had that popped up across my timeline. But I was saying we're both from New Orleans, so we know the high crime rate. We know
Hmm.
about murders, homicides, of so many different things go
Hmm.
on, and then I see some. It comes out. It comes off as messy marketing when people say, "Oh, you could throw a supper, you could do this, or you could do a
Hmm.
GoFundMe, but you didn't want to pay that as low as $18 a month for your life insurance." And I kind of equate that with just being misguided or being uneducated about life
Yeah.
insurance. So I feel like, people that I talk to, like people in my immediate circle, we're aware about life insurance, but I don't think we actually cared about it until it's too late or too close to home, or, it's a
Right. Right.
situation that you've been put into. But I feel like a life insurance plan needs to be put in place, especially for business owners. Think about how much risk
Yeah.
you take in every single day, going to your business, doing your passion, working on your business, building
Right.
up your legacy, your wealth, and all that, and then somebody
Hmm.
comes and tries to snatch that away from you. How can a life insurance policy protect you or your family or your legacy that you're building?
And so there, like I said, there's many types of policies. There actually is a policy that's called a key man insurance policy. So like if I have a business partner, and he feels like if something happens to me, he'll lose some of his income, based on the fact that we are business partners, or I have a manager that runs my business. I can get key man insurance on that person. So you can get key man insurance on your partner. You can, but all these policies you have to qualify for. So it's just not like we can just go apply for something. Sometimes people get misconstrued that, okay, I see people getting these $1 million policies. I want to get that too. You have to
Right.
qualify.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
So
That's
I
it.
hear a lot of online, yeah, y'all getting these small policies. Some people only qualify for a small policy,
Right.
because they may have a 60-year-old over here, but over here, this lady's unhealthy and she's taking a plethora of medications and has these different diagnoses. Well, she doesn't qualify for $1 million in coverage. So, like I said, what you when you're doing it, life insurance assessments, we do get their medications and things like that and see what they
Hmm.
qualify for. So that's when you're getting these policies on your business partner or business associates or somebody that's responsible in your business for a lot of the income that's coming in. They still have to qualify, but that is a great policy to have for someone that's assisting you in your business, because if something happens to them and they're controlling some of your business, if you think that you'll lose some of that business till you get somebody else to fill that position, then you can get a key man insurance policy on those people. And just for business owners, I think it's great to have insurance, you know, on based on your income that year, like times 10 years. And that's just basically to keep your business afloat if something was to happen to
Talking to
you.
your business partner or you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if you're making 100, 200,000 a year, yeah, you should have a $2 million policy. But once again, you have to qualify for those plans.
So what would be like just a general, not a, I know you're not gonna have like an accurate count, but what would be a general cost of a key man policy? Because I know my husband and myself got a key man policy a few years ago. So it's just a natural thing that we pay annually. And then maybe
Hmm.
our agent comes back to us and say, do we want to add to it? Or, have we acquired any other businesses and things like that? So then premium will go up. But what would be generally an amount that someone striving for the six-figure mark or striving to make 100K look for? They definitely want to get into $1 million key man policy, but what would they be paying
Hmm.
a month?
It depends on like somebody my age, or maybe in their 30s that's in good health. Their premium may be for $1 million policy. It may be like 120 a month.
That listen, y'all, 120 a month. We spend that on
Hmm.
cable, we spend that on hair, we spend that on nails,
Hmm.
ladies. It's Women Empowerment Day, right? We have to be
Yeah.
real. And listen, another thing that I've seen a lot, I don't know if you've heard it a lot or been seeing it a lot, but breast cancer has been hitting
Yes.
our community a
Yes.
lot. So that's
A
another
lot.
reason
I've
that
been
we
hearing it a
really
lot.
need to pay attention to getting insurance policies and
Before
change
those things happen, because if we
exactly
get a lot of people on the back end, we can still cover them. But that $1 million policy you could have gotten 2 years ago prior to your diagnosis, now you can only get 25,000.
right.
So it's a big difference. Yeah, we cover, we have it to where we can cover everyone. But you just two months ago, so I've had clients that called me and say, "Hey, I want to get insurance." Give them a quote. Okay, I'm gonna call you back. 2 months down the line, they call me back and say, "Hey, I've been diagnosed with such and such," and I'm like, "Well, you don't, that quote I gave you last month, that don't apply for this month
Because you no longer
because
qualify.
you
Because
no
now
longer
you have a
qualify."
diagnosis, and
Yes.
insurance is not going to be prorated. They're not going to go back and say,
No.
"Oh, wait a minute, we gave you a quote so we could keep this."
No.
We cannot do
No.
that. So
You
I think
cannot do
I
that.
think that everybody needs to kind of get in contact with John Rika. Make sure that
Yes.
she can give you guys a quote. Make sure that you at least have the minimum policy on yourself, on your kids, on your
Yes.
business partners, on your spouses. What about? I have another question. Can you get life insurance on someone that you're not married to? So I guess baby daddy, baby mama, can you get life insurance on them?
Long, yeah, if they consent to it, you can. So long as they consent to it, you can get a life insurance policy on your baby daddy, your ex, and it's even easier when it's your children's father because usually the kids can be the beneficiary
Beneficiary.
and you won't have a problem if something was to happen getting a death certificate because I've seen that happen. People get policies on somebody, and at when it's time to pay the debt claim, it's there, but the family don't want to give them a death certificate, so they can't get they can't get that policy.
What?
So, but if it's your children's father, your children can get a death certificate. But
Right.
if it's just like somebody like your ex or something like that, you have to have that worked out. What they know if something happens to
He
you,
got to
I'm
put
gonna
you in
need,
the will.
yeah, I'm gonna need your family to,
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny that we even got that question. But
people ask it all the time. Like, can I get my insurance on my baby daddy? You sure can, but just
yeah,
he has
you
to
should.
consent to it.
You
You
should.
should. You definitely should. And a lot of times people don't do that. And I'm like, okay, if he said I could get the insurance on it, but I don't want to pay it. You don't want to pay $35 a month or $40 a month, and then something do happen to him, and whatever income he was bringing into your child, now that's gone.
Okay, so what about the myth of I have insurance on my job?
Okay,
Why
that's a
why do
myth
I need
that
outside insurance? Why do I
and the
need
reason is
extra?
because you have group insurance on your job and you pay those premium out of your paycheck monthly. But the minute you leave your job, it either is going to skyrocket because it's going to be based on your individual self and your age and your health at that time. It's either going to skyrocket or some companies will drop you completely. You won't have insurance when the day you walk off some jobs.
Insurance stop when you exit the job.
Yes. Yep. And so that's why it's good to have it. And even if you have it, you don't have to have as much coverage as you have on your job, but just something to supplement if you walked away from that job in between you finding your next job. Because at some point you're going to retire. And sometimes even when you retire, you can't keep your benefits.
So what got you started on insurance? How did you get started in the insurance industry?
Well, it wasn't something that I just went looking for. I ain't, something I went to go look into. I always looked at insurance people, the old white man or black man come around with the suit on. But a friend of mine had a company and he needed an assistant. And he said, "You can work from home. I need an assistant right now." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm in school right now. Sure."
Mm-hmm.
let me try this out. So he was like, well, while you're here, on your downtime, you can, get licensed, do your property and casualty license, your life license. And I was like, okay, no problem. Let me get all these certifications. It's cool. So
Mm-hmm.
then a few months later, he's like, okay, you ready to go out? And I was like, go out. So that's how I started. I started in the final expense industry,
Okay.
which is more senior driven,
Mm-hmm.
and it was good. And like I love our seniors, like they're unmatched, like their energy is always good. And we
Yeah.
do a lot of community events at the senior centers and stuff like that. So that's where I started at, and then I started branching out, doing other things, and now I do every aspect of the life insurance business.
So final expense insurance, can you clarify that? Is that only going to cover your funeral costs?
So is burial insurance. It's not your big face amounts. And like I said, some people can't qualify for those big face amounts. And the only thing they can qualify for is a burial policy. But that policy is good too, because they're thinking of their family. They're thinking, I don't want to leave my family in a
This
bind.
burden.
So
Mm-hmm.
even at $20,000 policy, even if your funeral costs 15,000, your family has that to pay for your funeral, and they don't have to worry about if they could afford that while they're grieving.
So can you have multiple insurance policies, such as like a burial policy and then all the other different policies that you mentioned?
Yeah, yep. You can have as many policies as you want. There is no limit to the amount of policies you can have. People's situations change daily. So you
Okay.
may have when I first started having my first child, I only had $100,000. Well, I have three kids now. So my insurance coverage is more now for me and for my kids. And then also, your lifestyle has changed. You purchased a home, and you doing things
Right.
in your business. So if you can have as many policies as you want, as long as you can pay for them. So if something was to happen to you, you'll be good.
Okay. Makes sense. That makes sense. There's a lot of good questions, a lot of good feedback. So, any tips that you would like to give any business owners that are listening or anybody that's younger that doesn't know anything about insurance, any tips you want to give out?
It's always good to ask questions. A lot of people shy away from life insurance, and I've heard people tell me stuff like, "Oh, I don't want to think about debt." Well, it's not actually thinking about debt. It's thinking about, if something was to happen to you, how would your family continue to live? So just ask the questions you need to ask. And most of the time, younger people, your policy ain't number $15. So
Hmm.
I know you can fit that in your budget. So even if it's a term policy, you can always down the line convert it, whatever you want to do. But start somewhere and ask the questions that people don't want to ask. I get all kind of questions, and I have to have an answer for those questions. But I say just start somewhere.
How can anyone get in touch with you to get a quote?
My Instagram is John Norwood Insurance Boss, and then my website is Just Life Insurance, and my cell phone is 504-258-8694. And people text me for quotes, or you can send me a link on my website, or you can just DM me on Instagram.
Okay, so that was three different ways to get in contact with her on Instagram. You can text her for a quote, or you can go directly to her website. Okay, so what about John Rica? What is your mindset about if you were not in the insurance industry? What is your mindset about insurance?
So basically, I before I got into the business, I was young. I had my daughter young. I might have had insurance at the age of 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my mindset has always to make sure my family's straight. Even if I'm here or if I'm not here, I wanted to make sure my kids are good.
Right.
So, people talk generational wealth and different things like that. But if something was to happen to you today or tomorrow, and you don't have the tools you need, even, as far as a will in place and things like that, then it becomes a big commotion if something was to happen to you.
Yep. And we
So,
see it happen all the time, not just with
mhm,
regular, anybody. It happens with celebrities. It happens with people that we look up to, we admire, and you like, dang, they didn't have insurance. But we hearing these small numbers that we throwing out that $18 a month, $120 a month, and things like that. We can afford that. $120 a month is $40 a week. Right,
yeah.
that's a few
Yeah.
dollars a day. Like, I mean, we can break it down as many times as we need to make sure that we have this benefit, not just for ourselves, not just for your debt, but for your
Mhm.
life, your kids' life. Think about how you have them living right now. We
Yeah.
always use the saying or go back to the old quote of nobody gonna take care of my kids like, like I would. And that is
Right.
so true. So definitely, why would you leave them in a position to have to go to somewhere else, put them in a position to have to fend for themselves, not be able
Right.
to continue to live the lifestyle that you've already given them.
Right. And the same thing with parents. A lot of parents like, oh, I don't want to get, nothing's gonna happen to my child. But we don't know that. And
Mm-hmm.
we live in New Orleans and things are so unexpectedly happen to children,
Kids,
good
like,
kids too. So we don't never want anything to happen to our children, but we also don't want to be left in a bind if something happens to our kids. We want to make sure we have coverage on them just in case something happens. A lot of people go through the grief. They can't even grieve properly because they have to go out and ask for fish fries and GoFundMe and things like that, and they can't even grieve properly because they're trying to figure out how am I going to bury my loved one.
right. Yep, it's true. Another question that we have is, so if I was to get life insurance today and die tomorrow, how would they work?
So basically, for every insurance policy across the board, there's a clause in there that says the insurance company has 2 years to go back and review the application. And if you answered everything correctly on that application, you're not taking no medication, and you didn't die from something you already had preconditioned that you didn't list in a policy, that policy will be paid out. It has to be investigated, but they will pay that policy out. I've had that happen several times. Clients
Okay.
get a policy 1 month, and then in 3 months that person dies and they have to go through investigation. It takes a few months to get doctor's records and stuff like that. But long as you list everything truthfully in your application, they have to pay you out. They can't deny the
Oh,
policy.
that's stressful.
Yeah, you gotta dot your I's and cross all your T's. But they will pay you out.
Y'all heard that, right? So,
Unless it's like they have something called a guaranteed issue product, and it has a 2 year waiting period because these people are ill, so their policies doesn't go into effect until 2 years. But
they
other than
outlive,
that, they have to
so they
pay.
basically have to outlive the policy and then
Yeah.
they'll get paid out the
Hmm.
benefit. Good to
Yeah.
know. Girl, I got some notes here. I don't know about y'all. Y'all should be taking notes. Make sure y'all sharing this information with your colleagues,
Right.
with your family, your friends, anybody that you know that need life insurance, which is anybody, right? So make sure y'all sharing
Right.
this information. Be sure to shout out John Rica. Again, it is International Women's Day, and we are women that's
Yes.
making
Happy
history.
International Women's Day. Yes.
So happy, happy, happy International
Look,
Women's Day.
I'm in a business that most people be like, oh, girl, I like them. It's different. People that don't wake up and say, oh, I'm gonna become a life insurance agent. Like most of the time, we get agents that's fly by night. They say, oh, I want to do that. That's what y'all do. Let me try that out, and it
Hmm.
doesn't. I've been in this business over 10 years. I love what I do, and I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to help as many people as I can. I'm going to educate as many people as I can, and I'm just gonna, make the best of what I got going on.
That's
And
so
like,
refreshing to hear because there's so many people that are entering into different industries for so many vain things like, oh, I make this much of money in this industry. I get this much of clout in this industry. So I'm in this industry. I'm being a coach now because I know this and nobody can stop.
yeah,
There's so many different reasons why people join into industries, but you're into it because it's a passion of yours. And
yes,
like you
yep,
said, it wasn't something that you were a little kid like, oh my God, when I grow up, I'm gonna be an insurance
right.
agent.
I just knew I
It's
wasn't
something
I
that you
wasn't gonna be working for nobody else, but I
exactly.
just didn't know in what aspect, and it works for me. And like I said, I love what I do. I just love
Yes.
going out and talking to different people, and I just have a love for just helping people, and it's perfect. It's
I am
perfect.
so proud of you. I have to say that I gotta give you flowers. All the way from when we went out and had our lunch
Yes.
date and all the things that you talked about and all the things that you have done since then. So I just gotta give you your kudos, your flowers.
Thank you,
I
Drika.
am
Same
so
to you.
proud of
I
you.
look thinking the same thing about you. I'm baby. One thing about organized queen since day one. 5 notebooks, and she got it together. She got it. Look what I said. I got an alert like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Drika said this was the time I have to be in this room. This is what time I gotta be here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. So
Very
we have
detailed,
to
very
play
organized.
a quick thank you so much. We gotta play a quick game.
Mhm.
Every single week, I play a game of this or that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's basically just me asking you a few questions and you have to choose only one. Some of the questions might be hard. Some of them might be like, man, I really want to choose both, but you only could choose one.
Okay.
So it's all about you. It's trying to get a little bit personal versus only talking about life insurance. So the first question is, would you prefer to be on TV or radio?
On TV.
Why you want to be on TV, John Rico?
Because I need people to see me. People, people hear people's voice every day. I ain't checking for nobody on a radio station or no advertisement on a radio station. I need to see people need to see me.
Y'all gotta see her. All right.
That's
So,
right.
what about music? When it comes to your music selection, are you R&B girl or you a trap music girl?
Hmm. Depends on the day of the week, but for the most part, I trap music.
That's me. That's me. Everybody know I love trap music. I'm
Yes,
like,
yes.
girl, I be thinking about my like what I'm posting on my reels or something. And I'm like, oh, I won't put this, but it's not professional because
Right. It doesn't listen. R&B. I don't. I'm way from trap to
exactly.
gospel.
You exactly. It's no in between. It's no in
Mm-mm.
between. It's no in between. All right. What about do you like plan things or do you like spontaneous things?
Playing things only because I have a 2-year old at home now, and I have everything has to be playing with me.
So that kind of changed your whole dynamic. Like your
Yes,
other kids are way older.
yes.
So it's like,
23, 17, and 2.
man, and everybody like, oh my God, Drika, you should have another kid.
You
Cause
should have another kid, girl. Come over here with me. Come on
no,
now. Now don't wait too late now. Shucks. Had that boy.
no, ma'am. What would you call yourself, submissive or dominant female?
Submissive.
Oh,
Submissive, baby.
now that's different.
I love for my man to lead. Nope.
Now that's different because these days
Mm-mm.
the girls don't want to be submissive. The
Oh,
girls,
they don't, but I do.
the girls want to be
I
so
am.
dominant right now.
Listen, I do my own thing, but when it comes to family business and how things are gonna work, I'm gonna take his lead on it.
I love that. Me too. I'm submissive. Contrary to popular belief, I am submissive. What about traveling? Would you rather go to a flight or a cruise?
A flight. I don't cruise at all.
You don't cruise at all? A
Mm-mm,
lot of people say they don't cruise at all.
mm-mm.
What about somewhere where it snows, or would you like to go to the beach?
Oh, baby, I love the beach. I don't want to go nowhere where it's cold. Nowhere. I keep a sweater on in the summer all the time. Mm-mm.
You want to go to the beach? Okay,
I want
beach
to go to the
baby.
beach.
All right, last one. Would you prefer cash or credit, and why?
I credit. I like to keep a track of everything because I don't remember cash.
Cash goes so fast.
Cash goes so fast, and then when people ask for cash and want to pay me, can you pay me in cash? No, because I'm not gonna remember I paid you in cash.
Exactly.
No.
Yes.
I need a track. I need a paper trail.
Yes, ma'am. So, my last question is, do you have any closing words or any tips and tricks that anybody needs to know or resources that anybody can go to about life insurance?
Okay, well, just in business general, you have to follow your heart. I know people always talk about what's making this amount of money and things like that, but you, at the end of the day, if you're not passionate about it, it won't last. So go for things that you're passionate about and do those things. And just with life insurance in general, just check on it. You don't have to contact me, but contact somebody to get it. And it's better to get now than later.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. One
Thank you
word
for having
to
me.
describe where you are right now in life.
Right now, basically I'm still on a journey to where I'm trying to get. I have a lot of things working right now. I have another business, the Rain Nola nightclub on the West Bank. I have a house that I'm in the process of flipping, and I have real estate. So I'm
Oh,
still
yeah.
on a journey right now, trying to get to the destination of being retired and being in my house and doing what I want to do all day. Right now, I'm still working. I'm
What
still
does that look
still
like for
working.
you though? Because I feel like women like us, before we even close, because you got me in a whole nother idea now. But I feel like women like us, we work so hard and we want so much out of life. And we have our family that we have, first thing in our minds, right? And so
Mhm.
now it's like you're working, but people don't want to work no more. So it makes you feel like, damn, am I working too hard? Because I feel like I'm trying to get here, but I know it's another way. So you're taking all these different avenues of going into these different, taking all these different risks and all these different ventures, but it's
Mhm.
still like, what does retirement really look like for you? Are you gonna really be able to sit down and do nothing? Are
I
you really
probably
gonna?
won't. I
It's gonna
probably
be a
won't.
pivot. It's not gonna just be okay. I'm
Yeah,
stopping
and
working. I'm stopping
basically what I do, I can do over the phone or I can do in person. I
from
probably
anywhere.
go to more of like talking to people over the phone, not going out and different things like that. But
Hmm.
I probably will continue to do this for the probably the next 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm fine with that. But everything else, once I build up my portfolios enough, I don't want to be still, looking for different things. I like it easy. And what I do right now is very easy. Clients
You
call
only
me, I
want like
talk to
more
them over the
passive.
phone, or I go out to them, but everything is scheduled. So yeah, I like the easy road, and that's what I'm doing.
Yes, I want to get into more passive income sources,
Yeah.
things of that nature.
Hmm.
Probably go more into coaching a little bit more.
Yeah.
I have been
Hmm. You
developing
you
some,
I think you'll be good at it. You do it. You do it. And it's not nothing that you just, say, "Oh, I just want to go into coaching." No, I spoke to you about 3 years ago. And yeah,
right,
yeah, and you have we came a long way from there. And back then you was coaching.
right.
Not coaching, but coaching.
Right, exactly. I'm
So,
glad you said that too, but a lot of people think that it's just like, oh, well, I read this book or I took this class, so now I could go into coaching. And it's not
mm-mm.
something that you just go into. You don't just
And
wake up and say, I'm a coach. You don't, it's certain steps that you need to take, it's results that you need to
yes.
see before you say that, hey, I can coach or I can do this. I have result driven businesses. I've had businesses start. Some people aren't
Yes.
consistent enough. Some people
Right.
close
Right.
because it gets overwhelming. Life happens. Like it's so many different reasons why people
Yeah.
close their doors or close their businesses and go back to work. It's boring being an entrepreneur. It's most of the time you spend by yourself or you
Yeah.
spend your time trying to find like-minded communities that you can involve yourself in, right? Without the mess, without the drama,
Yeah.
without all of the
Definitely.
politics, right? It's so much more than just getting up, going to work a 9 to 5. You're gonna see a couple of coworkers, some gonna make you laugh, some gonna make you mad. You going
Right.
about your day.
It is so. I thought about that the other day. I'm like, even when it came to my taxes, I was like, life was so much easier when I was on a job.
Just a
Like
piece
this
of
is
paper.
too.
Boom, here you go, ma'am. That's it.
This is too much responsibility, but at the end result is it's good responsibility. And like I
It
said,
is.
Drika been doing this. She ain't just start doing this. She been doing this. So you'll be a great coach.
Thank you
I,
so,
I wouldn't
so
be a
much.
great coach because I ain't as organized as you. I wouldn't know who I'm talking to. So I'm gonna stay right in my lane.
Thank you so much, Donrika, and I will send you everything over later on
Okay.
this afternoon. You have a great day and
You
happy
do the
Women's
same.
History Day. Everybody
Yeah.
remember to go follow John Rika_Norwood insurance boss, and it will be at the bottom in the show notes. And don't forget to send me your commercial to go
Yes,
in here
ma'am.
as well. You
I
have a
sure will.
great day and
You
happy
do the same.
Wednesday.
And thanks for having me. You do the
You're
same.
welcome.
All right, Drika. Bye bye.
All right.